welcome to All Dial Views. Today we're going to take a look at the EarAcoustic Audio SBA Highend Max. They're a single dynamic driver IEM, 30 ohm impedance. The driver is 11.4 millimeter titanium gold ball domed silicone crystal double-sided surround diaphragm. I believe EarAcoustic Audio is kind of like an evolution of TFC. They seem to use the same size drivers. A lot of similarities I've seen looking around. And some of the TFC stuff I've heard was really good, especially at the price. The SBA Highend Max comes in at $289 US. Due to tariffs, though, getting it in the States could be difficult. Unfortunately for me, because of the tariffs, what I have here is a used pair. It does have a couple minor blemishes, but it's not very noticeable. If I wasn't taking pictures of them at a point, I would have never have seen it. But anyway, you get this nice box, a silver angel on the top. Really big box, nothing on that side. And over here, you can see there it says all the models. There's the SPA limited edition, which I believe is like a 22 or 23 ohm impedance. Same driver. The Highend Max, which is this one. A Highend Ultra, which I think also uses a 23 ohm impedance. Or no, I believe that one might be 26 ohm impedance driver. And the SPA Highend uses like a 22 ohm impedance driver. So in that range anyway. It's interesting though, because they all use the same titanium gold ball driver, but they all have different impedances. Unfortunately, I do not have a multimeter at the moment that I have access to, so I'm unable to verify any of that. With that said, this does kind of behave like a 30 ohm, 32 ohm roughly impedance IEM. It gets about the same to drive as most other IEMs in that impedance range. So anyway, you got the case, got the info there. Nothing much else. It's a big case though. I mean, it's nice, I guess, when you're spending close to $300. They give a really nice presentation. Now in it, here's the IEMs. And from my understanding, the SBA Highend Max and the SBA Limited Edition, the shells are made of the same aluminum alloy. They're very light IEMs, I think around 5.6 grams, if I'm not mistaken. Very light, very comfortable. They feel really nice, feel real premium. And then when it goes down to the Highend Ultra, it's a zinc alloy. Still a good metal for an IEM. Durable, I believe more durable than the aluminum alloy, but they're almost probably 70% heavier. I believe those are closer to like 9 grams. And then you got, when you go further down all the way to the cheaper one, the normal SPA Highend, that's where it's like a 3D printed plastic, or it could be a mold. I don't exactly recall, but that one's a plastic, and I believe that one's under $100, and they're all using roughly at least the same materials in the drivers. I haven't had experience in any of the plastic ones. I've only heard the Highend, this one, the Highend Max, and I believe the Highend Ultra, if I'm not mistaken, because it didn't have a fancy shell, but it was still metal. And I gotta be honest, they sounded pretty similar, but it was a short period with the Ultra, so I can't really say anything concrete. Anyway, so you'll have the IEMs there. In here, if I can get it out, you have your little accessory case, which will have the cable in it. I already got the cable out. Have a little pamphlet. Not much going on in here. And then you have a little case down at the bottom here. It says Silver Angel. It's a nice little case. I'm not entirely sure what it's made of, but it's nice. Nice little felt inner. And here's the cable. I actually, as much as I love the build quality, looks, and sound of this cable, it's an actual real Litz cable. It's kind of stiff. So for me, it's more of a at-home, sitting in a chair type cable. With that said, again, as far as single-ended cables, I really wish I had my multimeter, because this must be a very low impedance cable, because it sounds surprisingly good compared to even other good single-ended cables. Like, I would argue, like, it's almost like it has better channel separation or something. It's very weird. Even compared to some balance cables I have, like that sounds like this cable comes across more as far as the way it makes the IMs sound. It comes across more like if you would be running your IM with a balance cable compared to a standard 3.5. And that kind of just leads me to believe that it has something to do with its channel separation, its crosstalk or whatever. So anyway, it's a very good cable, really big. The hardware parts are a little plain in my opinion. I kind of wish they put some engravings or something on there. But again, nice cable. Really, like, tons of super tiny silver plated wires. Really thick, just a dual braided cable. Or dual twisted cable, I guess. And your tips, and you have a little kind of a little clip for your cable when you put it up. Now these are the tips it comes with. This is like my main only real complaint. Like, you get these tips with a lot of budget IMs. They don't sound that great. And they're very, well, especially these short ones that I generally like. These wide bore ones. The short stem. They feel nice. Like, they do feel like they're, they do feel like they're, or a slightly higher quality than some of the similar tips from those cheaper IMs, but it's so thin. They're so thin, like they almost collapse just when you touch them a little bit. Now these ones with the longer stem and the thinner bore are a little bit thicker, but they both, in my opinion, don't do the sound quality of the IM justice. Like these ones that the ones that I would normally use, they kind of give a peakiness, and these ones with the thin bore, just way too aggressive, and it's just a little too much, and it kind of takes away from the enjoyment of the sub bass with these ones. And going back to these wide bore ones, these short stem wide bore ones, using these, male vocals get this weird, like, it's almost like a cloud over them. It's a very unique, I don't know, a very unique change to the tone of male vocals. It's weird. I don't even know how else to explain it besides that. It's almost like there's like a cheesecloth or something placed over the vocals. It's like they come through, but they just don't sound all that natural. They sound like smothered a little bit, and it's odd, especially after you exclusively listen to these with those tips for a little while, you get used to it and you kind of forget everything sounds normal. Then you go to another IM and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that clarity, that's the naturalness. That's what voices sound like. It seems more of an issue with the tips and not the IM, which thankfully seems to be the case. Because if you see here, here's the IM. They're very nice looking. Might be a little too blingy for me, but I don't know. I kind of like them a lot. Big old vent there, which I love. I pretty much all IMs I've come across with nice big vents like that, or the big multiple holes in the side and stuff, they all seem to give me a really good experience. That one has the snake on it. But these look virtually identical to that. The only difference is, pardon the burned finger there. The only difference is these are a little bit thicker. They feel a little more meaty compared to those. Same type of wide bore, same short stem. Using these, even though they seem nearly identical, I do not get the issue with the vocals. I do not get the weird peakiness, but I do get the big sound stage, the well extended bass, the rumble. Like, these ended up being my preferred tips for this IM. Now, if you look in here, I also had a few other I was using. Everybody probably has these tips. I can't remember the name of them. Hopefully you guys can see it, and everything's not all blurry. But just, they have that black stem there. It's kind of a normal size stem. But with those, these things are actually, they take away a little bit of that sub bass, but it makes everything like even more separated, even more punchy. It's an extremely impressive experience with those tips I just showed you. Just with these tips, I find them to add a little bit more fun and power to the low end without making things almost too immediate. And again, we're talking about a $300 pair, or nearly $300 pair of IMs, so expectations should be high. And compared to other kind of similar priced IMs and stuff, like I'm a headphone guy. I collect more than IMs. Like I go for headphones, and it's hard to get a similar type of experience with IMs. Yeah, you can get detail that might exceed headphones at the same price, but you're going to be missing out on the sound stage, the presentation, the atmosphere. And like with headphones, the more expensive you get, sometimes it's not always like the detail. Like for instance, something like the Hi-Fi Sundara, very detailed, very nice, a very good experience. But then you start going into the $700-800 range, a little bit above that. You might not increase the resolution, but you start getting character, you start getting atmosphere, you start getting experiences that really just, it's hard, it kind of just puts you in a place that just makes you want to lean back, close your eyes, and experience what you're listening to. And that's kind of how I feel with these. I'm actually rather surprised, because some IMs, even something like the, what is it, some of the Timeless, the S12s, the T10, T10, T10 Pro, they can compete, and in some cases exceed these nearly $300 IMs in detail. It's very minor though. Like these, for especially for a dynamic driver, are surprisingly detailed. But it's the whole package. You get the sound stage, and these have a very nice wide three-dimensional sound stage. Like my best comparison, at least like combining budget products, would be something like if you combined the EA 500 original with the RDR1. The RDR1 is nice sound stage, good separation, a very just big, almost theater type of sound, whereas the EA 500 is this punchy, aggressive sound. So you take that punchy aggressiveness, kind of smooth it out a little bit, clean it up, take the edge off of everything, bump the detail up, and then you throw in even bigger soundstage than the R1, better elevation, better separation, just a nice 3D experience. It's like almost a, it's like almost a perfect combination of the both, in my opinion. Every genre sounds good with these to me. Especially, like, I love guitars, cymbals, and piano on these. They just sound remarkable to me. Let's see. Take a look. Can't remember what that coating's supposed to be. Now, do keep in mind, though, me saying that, these are an aggressive, like they're kind of aggressive. I would, like, if you're someone who has experience with something like the Hi-Fi Sindaras, or a lot of the Focal headphones, for instance, that's the type of sound these offer. They're kind of a little bit aggressive. They make sure you're experiencing everything. And even after comparing it, like again, I'm a headphone guy more so than I am guy. So I don't have tons of expensive $300 IAMs, but the ones I've listened to, I think, like, these are easily in the range, but it's their character, the atmosphere that kind of makes these stand out to me. Like, there's some, I had to go try them. They're an old pair, but they're still expensive for some reason. I think they're like, what are they called? The U12s or something? Good pair. Their resolution surpassed these. However, everything else was inferior. Like, in my opinion, it wasn't a comparable experience. Like, those, yeah, oh, you'll hear like, the detail was very good. But they didn't have the character or the atmosphere. Just, they didn't get you lost in the music like these was. It's, I don't know, it's still hard. Like, especially now with the tariffs and stuff, you don't know what you're going to pay for things. Like, if you can get these for $290, absolutely, I think they're worth it. But if we're being forced to pay $290 plus another $200 to $300 on top of it for tariffs, it's kind of hard to speak on, and I guess that's why they're not really shipping any out here. Very, I don't know, very beautiful. I love the way they fit, they feel. I wish they would do something else with the tips. Surprisingly, they don't take much power to drive. Like, if you go reading through their paperwork and stuff, they discuss how these ones are more power hungry than the lower impedance ones. I mean, I actually like these when I'm portable. Out of all the other stuff that I've shown, like the FC4, that RD IO1, all those other things, like, these seem to come to life with this little cheap 7 hertz, what is it? I can't remember the name of this thing, but it's the 7 hertz dongle DAC that has that AKM, or the AKM, yeah, the AKM 4733, I think it is, DAC. Like, that thing sounds so good with these. It has, even though it's a 1 volt limited DAC, doesn't have much power at all. It does really well with these. Plenty of headroom to get them as loud as you want. And when you start listening to these loud, it's like it's an experience. It's the only thing I can really speak on, because it has no real flaws. For instance, like if you don't like aggressive IEMs, things that kind of have like that approach that like a Sundara or Focal headphones might have, and you prefer smoother types of IEMs, something that might sound closer to like a Sennheiser, like the 600, 650, then maybe these might not be for you. And there are other good options. It's just the way they're tuned makes them exciting. That makes them, it gives almost like if you're live at a concert, like everything, and not just live at like a big concert, like live at an intimate concert where you can not only hear the instruments and stuff through the speakers, but you can hear the instruments being played as well. It's rather impressive. I honestly didn't expect to have the experience I did with these, because there's so much good stuff, especially lately, that's in that 150 and below range, that I was kind of thinking, yeah, they might be a little better, but I was thinking maybe the price was coming from the cable and the shells and stuff. But there's something here that I have not come across, at least at this level, with any of those $150 and under IEMs, and none of the planners, whether it's the timeless or any of the other 250 and below planners. Like some may beat this in resolution, but they don't have the stage, they don't have the presentation, they don't offer the atmosphere. And it's that full experience that for me makes these special. I really hope I get a chance at some point to listen to some of their other models, because they do have a cheaper line. They have the STA line, they have a professional SPA line that uses a a carbon diaphragm, but also still 11.4 millimeter. And that one, from my understanding, those are supposed to be geared almost entirely for resolution. So maybe those might even be more detailed than these and be less comparable in other aspects. I don't know. Again, I haven't heard any of those. The STA line uses dual drivers, and they're even cheaper. Those have one 10 millimeter driver and a 6 millimeter driver, and that always seems like a good combination to me. So I really want to try those at some point. There's not much else to discuss about these. They're kind of, especially since, again, I don't have a lot of other things to compare them to, especially now, as you guys probably notice, I'm kind of in a different spot. I don't even have access to 90% of my stuff at the moment. So that's why I have nothing up here to compare to. What I will say again is they're special. To me, they're special. They're good. I'm glad they didn't try to just do the same old tuning that's been coming around lately, like going for that popular, almost warmth and smooth sound that's been seeming to happen a lot lately, and they tried to take a little bit of a risk and go a little bit aggressive. But it's, again, there's no like sibilance, there's nothing that's headache inducing. It's it's a quality and aggressiveness, all very smooth, and just the separation, the detail. Like, I'm thoroughly impressed. I can't even now, like, I spent, geez, far too long listening to these before even making this video. I made another video with, what was it, like 4 days ago that I was going to put up, and I'm just rambling on and on, comparing it to so many different things, and I end up just figuring, you know, it's not even fair because it's so far beyond the category of what those $100 IMs, $150 IMs that I was showing could even be. Like, as much as I look, like, and or like some of my favorite IMs don't even cost that much. Some of my favorite IMs are like in an $80 range, and I would put those comparable to those $150 IMs. Like that RDR1, I love that IM, the T10 Pro. I love that IM. It is so good. And again, the T10 Pro competes with this, if not exceeds it in some cases, a resolution. EA500. I love that IM. But as good as the EA500 was, some people did find it aggressive. When you compare it to something like this, they're both aggressive, but in very different ways. Like, in comparison, the EA500 almost sounds scratchy, piercing, and personally, I don't feel that. It's only when I start comparing, because if I go right back to the A500, put these aside and right back to and enjoying them, but when I'm doing quick changes, it's like, why am I even bothering? It's so obvious, the gap between them. I am going to end up doing a part 2, but I want to get something out. There's already a bunch of other videos I've seen popping up for like the limited edition and other models of the SPA line. EarAcoustic Audio has done a very, very good job with these, and I hope they continue doing more. I hope their lineup has more variety than what I'm seeing, because I do see some, like, it'll show one graph for the entire SPA high-end line, and then it'll have like a whole graph and one single graph covering the STA line and stuff like that. So and it's just weird because they're all supposed to have different impedances, so you would assume different characteristics, but I don't know. That's why I want to get my hands on more. With that said, these are currently my favorite IM, and hopefully some of you guys that been praising that I've heard a lot of people praise that U12, and I don't think it compares to this, unless if what I'm thinking of is completely wrong, because again, I don't own it. I had to try it out through a friend, and yeah, he kind of has a little more selection of high-end IMs than I do, and even he tried to buy these from me, and I can't. I told him, got to do a video. I can't do that. Wouldn't sell them anyway. Like, I love these. These are hopefully mine. Hopefully they don't make me try to send them off to somebody else, even though it was a used pair. I don't know. I'll continue to listen to them while I have a chance. I'll continue to enjoy them. I hope you guys give them a chance, even if you can just try them. Give them a chance. They're super comfortable, and it's the experience that comes with these. Like, I do want to touch kind of on the frequency response a bit. Like, women vocals to me sound perfect on here. Like, it's exactly where I like it, where you can, when they break their voice and stuff, you can kind of hear the screech and the crack, and it's almost, you can get that with some of them. You can almost get that piercing quality that some of them has, which I do think should be in female vocals when it's called for. Male vocals, especially with the supply tips, are a little too recessed, but with these tips and I think the vocals are mostly best balanced with these tips, these black stem tips. The vocal issues kind of balance out towards which it's not recessed at all. And you kind of try other tips. So it fixes that, but when you're just judging off of what it comes with, the male, just that range for the male vocal seems like these are doing something there, and it's pulling it down a little bit and making them a little funky. There's not too much energy up top for me. I think they push it. It's a little elevated, but not to a fatiguing point. The bass is probably one of my favorite things about these IMs. I don't know, maybe it's from having an 11.4 millimeter driver, but it is super powerful. Very, very punchy, tactile. And surprisingly, it seems to be punchy and tactile almost regardless of the source. Like, again, this is probably one of the weakest dongle decks I have. Outside of like the Apple dongle deck and one of those oh man, Realtek dongle decks, and the bass is great. Now with that RDIO1 dongle deck, the bass is just insane. Like, it is just super deep, super punchy, super powerful rumble. It's almost too much with that. So this is a more smooth, spread out, kind of balance sound. And I know you think, oh my God, how can you truly understand or appreciate like a $300 IM with the little crappy, cheap, what's that, $30 dongle? It sounds so good. And glad I mentioned that too, because these things will bring out the character of whatever you plug them into. Like plugging them into my desktop stuff, oh my God. I wish I was able to have more time. Like I said, I'm not there to have access to my desktop stuff at the moment. I've only had, was it like 4 days where I could do that, and oh my God. It was kind of breathtaking in a way. Like, I was really surprised. Like, it was doing things that some of my more expensive headphones do, and it was super impressive. Like, the clarity, the resolution even increased even further than what I'm getting now, which is already extremely impressive for a dynamic driver. The bass is not necessarily elevated, but it kind of has, like, it seems like it has a well-balanced bass, and then once it starts getting into like the sub bass region, like maybe 50 hertz and below, it almost boosts up a little bit, so you get a lot of that deep rumble, and it makes these, like, for me, a jack of all trades. Like, rock sounds great, acoustic stuff sounds remarkable, orchestras just sound lifelike, hip-hop is so much fun. However, hip-hop is kind of where some issues can start happening, not because necessarily the IM, but the quality of the recording. Especially if you're someone like me and you enjoy like old 90s hip-hop and stuff. There's stuff from back then that was just recorded so bad, and you can really hear kind of the grit and grain going on in the background. Like, this will pull that out. Anyway, in my opinion, EarAcoustic Audio knocked it out of the park. I'm going to be doing another video on this hopefully in a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks from now, because there's 2 more IMs that I need to get done in there. One's a wireless, and the other's an old one that, like, about 30 of my videos gone. So I want to start doing some of them over again. Anyway, like I was saying, give these a shot. Certainly give them a try if you have a chance to. I find it hard to believe that someone wouldn't be impressed. And in my opinion, like, the audiophile by definition would love these. Now, I don't know. Even people that normally don't like this type of aggressive sound seem to enjoy these and walk away impressed. So I think Acoustic Audio did a great job. SPA Highend Max, certainly give them a try. And from the other videos I've seen, the other models are worth giving a shot to. And they do have some very affordable models in the lineup. There's some under $100, $120. You can get one with the same exact driver, minus a different impedance, at I think $100, $110 or something like that. Again, that's ignoring the absolutely absurd tariffs. But I'm just saying there's possibilities that you could get this experience or something similar from these guys out of a fraction of the price. I don't know. Give these a shot. I'm a huge fan. I want to see EarAcoustic Audio do more. Thank you guys for watching. I hope all of you guys have a great day. Thank you.